Hello, it's Thursday and it's 4 p.m, which means it's the Etch Play weekly live show. This is episode 11. They haven't cancelled us yet. And I'm joined today for the news by Joe from the Play team. Hello, Joe. Thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
Yeah, no worries. Long time watcher, first time caller. Yeah, I'm doing well today. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Dan's got better things to do today, apparently. So I brought in a super sub. You're an impact substitution, like Theo Walcott. And we're here to talk about the latest industry news. He doesn't know who Theo Walcott is.
No clue. Well, I know who he is. I don't know his stats as an impact sub. So
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm telling you, he's an impact sub, or he used to be.
Okay.
He's not that useful anymore. That's why Saints got him back. Not here to talk about football, though. Sadly, we're here to talk about games. It's an exciting week for games. It's next gen week. It's officially the week that next gen becomes current gen. The Xbox Series X came out on Tuesday, and the PlayStation 5 came out today, in America at least, and a few other countries. PS5 in the UK is expected on November the 19th. Joe, how do you feel about current gen? And by current gen, I mean Xbox Series X and
we're
PS5.
still in that awkward transition phase where it's still next gen, but it's not because it's here now. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm really enjoying what Microsoft are doing, just like trying to be as open as possible as they can with it. And Sony seem to be taking a page out of that book as well, and just trying to be like as open and transparent as they can be with the console, which compared to like the PS3, Xbox 360 era where everything was like closed doors, it's a big shift over the past decade or two.
Yeah. So people out there in the wild might have one. If you have an Xbox Series X, or if you've sneakily got a PlayStation 5, you're watching not from the UK, let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And yeah, there's games for these things. If you have a PlayStation 5, which obviously you probably don't if you're in the UK, but if you do, you have Astrobot's Playroom, you have Demon's Souls, you have Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Miles Morales you can actually play on a PlayStation 4 as well, so that's exciting. And if you have the Xbox, then you have Tetris Effect Connected and Game Pass. You have all those games they've got on there, all the thousands of games. Not necessarily many new ones, though you can also play Gears Tactics on console for the first time, and that's a lot of fun. If you're interested in that, we have a video of Gears Tactics on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/etchplay. Watch that after the stream, though. Let's do some more news then. Elsewhere in news, mergers, acquisitions. Take-Two are buying Codemasters. So if you don't know who these people are, Take-Two are the holding group that own Rockstar of Grand Theft Auto fame and 2K, who are responsible for BioShock, Borderlands, XCOM, and other such franchises. And they've acquired Codemasters, who have just launched Dirt 5. You can get Dirt 5 for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, as well as the prior gen consoles. They also do Formula 1 games, which I imagine you've probably played some of, Joe. You probably played some F1 games by Codemasters.
I have. I am a big Codemasters fan.
Okay.
Like one of my favorite games on, it must have been either my PlayStation or even like my Sega Genesis Master System. No, sorry, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive would have been Micro Machines V3 made by Codemasters back in the day.
Micro Machines was a great game. Bring back Micro Machines. If that's the outcome of this deal, then I approve.
Yeah. Is it the F1 world themselves? Well, not the company, but the fans of F1 have been kind of a buzz about it all week as well, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a sign of promising investment. Codemasters haven't always been as profitable as they are today, and this is an injection of £726 million is the price that they've been paid for ownership. So hopefully some more good things to come. Hopefully we'll see some racing games there. And 2K have some sports licenses of their own, so maybe there'll be some collaborations there with some of the different racing.
I know they have the WWE license.
Do they?
I think it'd be hilarious to see like The Rock driving a Mercedes F1 car.
I mean, you can see The Rock driving in a Fast and Furious film. Actually, Codemasters did do the last Fast and Furious video game, Fast and Furious Crossroads, I believe.
This is the perfect crossover.
Believe was a Crossroads, a Codemasters game, sorry, I should say. So yeah, there you go. Stay tuned for Micro Machines V whatever they should be on now, and Fast and Furious F1. Those are rumours that we're starting here today. Speaking of rumours, this was a rumour and now is no longer a rumour. I mean, it just makes good business sense. But Mass Effect, the original trilogy, is getting a remaster. It's called the Legendary Edition. And studio head Casey Hudson promises super sharp resolution, faster frame rates, and beautiful visual enhancements. It's due out in spring 2021 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. It's old man consoles.
I know you're a big Mass Effect fan. You constantly talk about, well, you don't constantly, but you quite often bring up Mass Effect 2 as it being like a great game of the generation it was in.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2, I think, is... Yeah, it was 2010. One of the best games, definitely, of 2010, I think, and also the generation at large. I'm not sure how excited I am for this. I mean, I feel like if it was me, if I was BioWare and I wanted to remaster a game, I'd be looking further back in their catalogue to something that would maybe benefit from the upgrade a bit more, like Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars game. EA have the license.
Knights of the Old Republic is a big one. I am surprised.
They should do that.
People are constantly asking, but I guess they don't have the license with Disney anymore. No,
EA do, and EA own BioWare. Yeah, I think it gets confusing because Disney, they're messing with Star Wars canon and like which things are technically part of the story after the sale. Like they erased a lot of the extended universe canon, which I think originally included Knights. Although they did, I heard recently they made Revan canon. He's the bad guy from Knights, so maybe they're thinking of revisiting it. Apparently, he showed up in a book somewhere as an official Disney bit of merchandise. So yeah, due for the old consoles and PC, with forward compatibility and targeted enhancements on the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. So that's, I think, a phrase we're going to hear a lot over the next probably year or so. Releasing for the old gen, but with some targeted enhancements for the new gen. Mass Effect, great franchise. Andromeda was a bit of a misstep for them in terms of critical reception and sales, so hopefully this will put them back on good footing. They did also hint at a new Mass Effect. It's not clear if this is a Mass Effect 4 or a Mass Effect Andromeda 2 or a Mass Effect something else entirely. But they said that veterans of the studio were working on a new edition of Mass Effect as well. So exciting times for people who like to travel through space and romance aliens. Like me. It's my two things. If I can do those, game wins. More rumours as well, actually, in the news. Microsoft are apparently, according to Bloomberg, the story comes from, looking to acquire a Japanese studio. So obviously Microsoft have done stuff like this in the past. They've flirted with the idea of trying to break into Japan in a bigger way than they have. Xbox doesn't sell that well there as a brand. Interestingly, and kind of the basis of this story, I didn't realise this, Sony is actually not doing that well in Japan in this most recent generation with the PlayStation 4. Apparently 89% of all consoles sold in Japan at the minute are Nintendo Switches, and the other two consoles just barely even feature, which is an interesting development.
The Switch is a little bit weird, because for the past few generations, Nintendo have been releasing like off-cycle with the other two.
Yeah, and they did like the Wii U, and then they were like, let's stop selling that and make a good one. No offense to any Wii U fans out there. It wasn't their finest hour. I mean, they had some interesting ideas. But I think the Switch, most people would agree the Switch is a marked improvement in every way. So, yeah.
Is there any like names against this rumor at all?
Nope. They've just said that several Japanese studios have confirmed that Microsoft has approached them for talks about buying. I mean, there's always rumours. Some of the big ones over the years, people always talk about Microsoft buying Sega. They've had a close working relationship with Sega in the past, from the Dreamcast days even, but also you look at things like Jet Set Radio Future was exclusive to the Xbox, the OG Xbox, and they've had other deals like that before. Capcom, Konami, Bandai Namco, any of those could be in the frame if they were making a real splash, and we know that after the Bethesda announcement, they are fond of making a big splash, so it could, it could well be a big company. Or it might be something smaller. I think I was listening to a podcast the other day which I thought was interesting. It was about how every time the Xbox camp announced they've got a Final Fantasy, it's like a few months later they announce a new Final Fantasy which is coming to the PlayStation first. So maybe Square Enix would be a way to go as well. Like, there's obviously a lot of money there.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. We'll see who they buy next. Get your bets in. Make a little sweepstakes with the people you work with. Speaking of RPGs, although Western ones rather than Japanese ones, Todd Howard's been out there, of Bethesda fame. Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 are the two big anticipated games from them. Obviously, a sequel to Skyrim, and Starfield's a unique property. It's an original IP. Apparently, they're being built on a new engine, which I think people assumed, but Bethesda, or specifically Todd, have now come out and claimed that the new engine is 5 times better than the previous engine used on, for example, Skyrim. And yeah, we're hoping to see something from one of these things soon, especially, I imagine, Microsoft is keen to start parading these things as potential Game Pass inclusions.
Yeah, I'm glad that they've confirmed it's on a new engine. The existing one they used had been in use since Fallout 3, which was very long ago now.
I think even Oblivion. I think Oblivion is the Oblivion engine, isn't it?
That's even worse.
I could be wrong.
I remember Oblivion coming out, and that's like almost 15 years ago at this point.
And that was a big step. Like, from Morrowind to Oblivion was maybe not to everyone's taste, but from an engine perspective was definitely a big jump up.
Yeah, but I think it's overstayed its welcome a little bit, the engine. The only apprehension I have here is his claim of it being 5 times faster. As a dev, both of us, we can kind of... it's hard to quantify that. I think we both know that.
Yeah.
You can't...
And I think what most people would want out of a Bethesda game is like, what if there was less bugs in it? What if there was... like, maybe you don't just do faster and bigger, but also you just make it,
can experience
runs
bugs
consistently.
Yeah. Maybe I feel like some of the bugs have come from them over, like, trying to push the engine too far.
Yeah,
possibly.
They're ambitious, aren't they? They're very ambitious in what they try to do, and that has rewards, but it also has risks. And we're expecting both of those games to be a big deal for Xbox, definitely, and possibly for other consoles. We don't know exactly what the situation will be with those now being owned by Microsoft. Whether they'll still come to other consoles, they might do in some form. But yeah, exciting times for gamers and fans of RPGs. Hopefully we'll see more from that soon. I didn't put this on the news list, so I'm springing this on you. We actually found out just recently that the Game Award nominees are coming out next week. And that's also traditionally an avenue where there's a lot of new trailers and releases. Not necessarily releases of games, but releases of trailers. So maybe we'll see some Starfield or some Elder Scrolls 6 next week. Or not next week, but when the show happens.
Loco Cycle 2.
Loco Cycle 2, coming. Twisted Pixel.
They tweeted me today. I was
did they?
I don't
Loco
think they
Cycle,
realised I completed the game.
Joe's Game of the Year 2013.
My Game of the Year 2020. It came out 7 years ago. I bought it last night. Great game.
And finally, on the news front, every week we try and finish with what we call Games for Good. So this is there a nice story out there that celebrates the way that games can bring people together? And this week's story is about Numinous Games, the creators of games such as That Dragon Cancer, which is an incredible story in terms of the development of that game and what it's about. But we're talking about their ongoing playability initiative. They've launched a monthly contest. So these challenges are all about ideas to improve accessibility, specifically around muscular atrophy, which is something they focus on a lot, like reduced mobility of players, but also beyond. And this month's challenge, which you can enter if you want, you have to join a Facebook group, but you can enter. You can pitch for how you would turn Among Us, the popular Twitch streaming hit, into a one-button game, which would make it easier for people with muscular atrophy to play. So if you have any great ideas for Among Us and how to make that even more accessible, pitch those. You could win a prize. Check that initiative out, because I think that's really interesting. It's a great thing for Numinous Games to support, and we're big fans of accessibility in games here, so make sure you check that out. Are you still playing Among Us, Joe?
Yeah, when I can. It's hard to get a big group of 10 people, but when you can get it, it's really fun to play.
Cool. Well, that brings us to the end of the news. We're going to throw to a pre-recorded segment, and this is the second part in our epic Mario Party video. So this is me checking out the board game mode of Super Mario Party. Thanks to Joe for joining me, and I'll be back in about 12 minutes with Sam Reed from the Guildford Games Festival, talking about Guildford Games this year. This weekend is a big festival, digital, all online. Watch all the talks on Twitch. It's going to be really interesting, so we're going to chat to him after this. See you in a sec.
Bye.
Hello and welcome. This is Super Mario Party on the Switch, second time around. You may have seen a previous video from us. I attempted to play the sound stage, which is a special mode in this where you get to basically you get to just do mini games back to back, but they're all timed to a beat, and it was extremely difficult. After playing that, I took a break, and I'm back to show you the Mario Party board game mode, which is the primary mode, really. So you'll see here we're on a board, and around the board there are blue squares or blue circles that give you coins, and there are red squares that take away coins, and they're very, I guess, interesting scenery around these things that you can interact with, usually in ways that screw people over, either yourself or other players. So here we've got some bombs. If you stop near them, they'll jump on you. King Bob-omb. He's going to do something strange to you, I'm guessing, if you get near him. Massive explosion. So you're trying to progress around the board, and you're trying to collect stars. So you collect coins, which you can turn into stars. It's based around dice rolling. So Rosalina rolled a 6, she'll go first. Then Yoshi, then Luigi, and then me playing as Boo. So you get to see the other computer players have a go before I have a go. So you start with 5 coins. Usually you need either 10 or 20 to buy a star, and the star moves around the map. So let's see where the first one's going to be. First location, Toadette's got the star in the top left. So the first person to get there with enough coins can buy it, essentially. And somewhat like Mario Kart, the game has a loose definition of fair play. If you're doing well, the game punishes you. You get worse items, and other people seem to get better items, and you get screwed over at the end. I'm actually quite good at some of these games. I know I didn't look like I was during the last video, but I'm not bad at most of them. And I've still never won a game of this, because even though I do quite well, the game punishes me for doing well. Oh, countdown's gone down. Here comes Yoshi. The computer players are doing it quite quickly, so I will take a little bit more time and talk you through what's going on here. I'm just going to move my face a little bit so you can see what's going on. Luigi's rolled a 1. There's 3 coins landing on a blue spot. So the interesting part of the strategy here is the characters. So you can roll a normal dice block, or you can roll your character's dice block. And you can see here Boo's. So every character's got a different dice block. Boo's has the option to lose coins, or I can get a 5 or a 7. I have a 4 out of 6 chance of getting a pretty good score. So I'm going to go for Boo's dice. And I hope this pays off. Comes off 5. And when you reach an ally space, which is what I've done here, you basically add another person to your team, and you get to use their dice. And the different characters have different dice. This is Daisy. I don't remember what her dice does. Okay, it's mostly 3s and 4s. It's probably going to be fairly useful at times, because you do often have to stop on specific squares to get things. Here's a minigame. So after every player's had a go, you get a random minigame. And the mini-games will affect who has coins. Okay, you're pedaling. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be good at this one. This one feels like it's... Here goes nothing. Come on, Boo, we got this.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, I'm nailing it.
A new record.
Good job, Boo. So as a result of that, I get more coins, and as nobody has any stars, I'm now in first place. We'll do one more turn, then I'll wrap things up here. What I want to show you is there are certain points on the board where you actually have a choice about which direction to go in. So there's multiple layers of strategy here. You get the strategy of choosing which dice to use, you get the strategy of picking a path. Oh, something's happening. Okay, it's just a countdown going down. Here comes Yoshi. Unlucky Yoshi, losing your coins. Luigi from the Mario Brothers. Oh, he's getting an ally as well. Oh, Luigi and Waluigi. Teaming up. So I can use other dice now. I can choose between Daisy's dice or my dice. Let's use Daisy's, and you'll see when I roll this, even if I don't choose her dice, she will also do a roll, which will add to my total. So I'm going to get 3. She's going to get 2 for a total of 5. And here's a good location, so you get to see I can choose to go in this direction, and the red circle's where I'll end up there, or I can head in this direction. I'm actually not sure which way is best on this map, so I'm just going to go this way. I can either go towards the shop or the bad. I don't want to go to the bad luck space, so I definitely want to go to the shop. So there are shops around the place, and sometimes you win items as well, or you can buy them with your coins, and they unlock certain abilities. Move my face out of the way so you can see. I've chosen a bad webcam location today. So you can take away from other people's dice roll. You can add +3 to your dice or +5 to your dice. I will buy one on this occasion, and I'll show you what that looks like on the next turn before I wrap things up. Another minigame. Dust bunnies. Okay, so I'm working with the computer players. We're going to try and hoover up the most dust. It's nice that most of the games that you end up playing here give you a little practice go. So yeah, and this is an interesting one because it's 3 versus 1 basically. So Yoshi's Hoover is going to be better than ours, but there's 3 of us, but we're still together. So let's see how they get on.
Start.
Stuff on the bottom. Go, 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 go.
Finish.
Don't think we played well there, but I think we may have still won.
Yeah.
Yeah! The game encourages you to fist bump basically at all times. And as you'll know from the last video, if you watch that, I'm not going to get in the timing right. 10 extra coins. Still in first place. So yeah, as the game progresses, people will get items that like steal coins or steal stars, and then at the end of the game, they award bonus stars for seemingly random things like who did the best dice rolling, who won the most mini games, who's got the most coins left over. She's got herself an item, golden dash mushroom. She's rolled a 3, which means he's getting an ally as well. Monty Mole. Let's see what Luigi's going to do. He's got himself an item. So it's my turn. You can see right here, if I land on that square in front of us, there's the exclamation mark. It's very likely that that bomb will attack me or explode or do something bad to me. So what I'm going to do is use all my items. So I just bought this item last turn. This is going to add 3 to my dice roll. So now I'm definitely going to get at least 3. And what that means is I can be a little bit more risky. I can probably use this. Hopefully get a 7. Nope. Well, I'm glad I used the... Okay, Daisy's roll would have got me past anyway, and I've still got up to a 5, so that's better than nothing. And you get these sorts of... There's lots of random elements. Get 5 coins. So yeah, this is Super Mario Party for the Switch. It's a lot of fun. Much like the last video, you want to be playing this with friends. I'm playing with the computer characters here. It's a lot more fun if you play with 3 people who also have no idea what they're doing. And yeah, I'm going to throw it back to the studio. See you next time.
And we are back. You're watching the Etch Play Weekly Live Show, episode 11. My name's Adam Burt, and I'm joined now by Sam Reed of the Guildford Games Festival. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone, thanks a lot for having me, Adam.
No worries. So you're here to talk about Guildford Games Festival, which is happening this weekend. It literally starts tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to give people a little bit more notice, really.
Yeah, if you've already got plans, cancel them, because the Guildford Games Festival's better.
Hey, there is a better option on Friday night right now. It's time for the Games Festival.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff going on. So Guildford Games Festival is traditionally a physical event that people would go to in Guildford, as the name suggests. But this year, obviously, 2020 is not the best year for physical events, so instead it's all digital, all taking place on Twitch. And interested parties, if you're interested in this, you should check out GU Games Fest on Twitter, where you can see the whole schedule. And it's going down on Twitch, right? Twitch.tv/Guildford Games Festival, all as one word. I'll put some links in the chat in a second. But yeah, why don't you talk a bit about Guildford Games Festival and its origins and why this year is going to be a bit different?
Sure. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a difficult year to run an event like this. And while it was a physical event last year, which was its first year, by the way, of course we didn't stand a chance of packing a load of people into G Live. Under these kind of pandemic circumstances, which was a bit of a shame. And frankly, when lockdown first started, I kind of gave up on it. I was disappointed because the event last year was brilliant. It was the first time anything like that has ever happened in Guildford. It felt like a mini conference mixed with, felt like a really mini Gamescom actually. We've been over there where they've got the industry tracks, but also the public tracks, the public engagement stuff. Now, when I say mini Gamescom has like 350,000 people turn up to load every year. So I'm maybe bigging it up a bit too much there, but it was really, really cool to see Guildford's game industry come together like that. And we had your typical kind of track of conference speakers. We had a playable games timeline of Guildford's games from the past. We had, and on the second day, it was split into an industry day and a careers day. And on the careers day, we had lots of figures from Guildford's games industry talking to the kids from local schools about how they can prepare themselves for a career in the games industry, because we really want to spread the word that it's here for people to engage with. We want to help people to understand it. And there's a lot of kids with passion with a passion for games out there. And if their mum's anything like mine, they'll constantly be being told it's a bit of a waste of time. And actually, there's a really interesting and promising career path for them out there. So it's good for them to have that comeback when they next get accused of it. So
yeah.
The event last year happened to be on one of the hottest days of the year. That's one of the main things I remember about it. A glass housey style venue, but fortunately, one of the organisational partners, Liquid Crimson, are a really, really good video production company that make a lot of trailers for big game studios. So we knew we could trust them with the idea of producing a lot of really high quality original video content for a digital version of Guildford Games Festival in 2020. And sure enough, they've come through. The content that they've produced is a really, really nice standard. And I think there's something like 9 hours of original video content being broadcast on Saturday. The silver lining of these pandemic circumstances is that we're actually pretty sure it's going to reach a massive audience, which is exciting. Far more people than you could cram into G Live where at physical events. So yeah, I'm really excited to see those headlines after the event.
Yeah, it sounds great. And you mentioned Liquid Crimson, who are one of the organisers. I know Etch Play have helped out as well, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes who make this happen. Do you want to speak to, the role of people behind the scenes in making this event happen in what's a very difficult year?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of an organisational committee that will help make it happen last year that carried over and drove forward the kind of strategy for how Guildford Games Festival works this year, which is made up of myself at Enterprise M3, which is a local enterprise partnership. We're kind of responsible for our local economy and for delivering prosperity for local people through innovation and developing the economy. And then there's Yuki, which is the national trade body for the games industry. There's Etch Play, of course, who took care of all of the digital side of things. And Liquid Crimson, who this year took care of all of the digital things. Liquid Crimson took care of all of the filming, which was really tough actually, because a lot of the windows that we had scheduled to go and visit studios, get some good pickup shots or interview people, as the summer felt kind of relaxed COVID-wise compared to how it does now, and some of the appointments that we had to do filming, etc., started falling through. Some of the venues couldn't support it anymore, so it was it's been a real journey getting all the content produced and making it happen, and we couldn't have done it without any of the individual component parts of that organisation team. But can't give high enough credit to the sponsors of the event. Well, Enterprise M3 is one of those. And game developer-wise, Electronic Arts, they're a big studio based in Guildford that are sponsoring the festival, along with Criterion and Supermassive Games, are the three headline sponsors of Guildford Games Festival game dev-wide. But then some supporting partners like Guildford Borough Council are helping to make it happen, and Charles Russell Speechless, who are a law firm, as well as a few event partners like UCA, which is an arts college down the road in Farnham, University of Surrey, Fortitude Games, and Stellar Entertainment, I believe. And so,
if not, they get some free promo out of it. They're good guys. Yeah, they deserve it. So yeah, I mean, like I say, it sounds fantastic, and obviously it's taken a village to put together. You mentioned there's a careers day and an industry day. That's the same format you're doing this year. That's there's going to be a day for young people looking to get into games, and a day for people who are already in games.
That's right.
Are there any particular highlights of the schedule that you're like, oh, I can't wait to see that one? That's going to be a real jewel in the crown.
Yeah, I'll quickly mention one extra sponsor that I forgot.
Okay, sure.
Stellar Entertainment definitely are one, and Glow Made are one too.
Right. Yeah.
Really cool local studio. It's great to see that kind of support happening. But yes, the format's the same. So tomorrow is Industry Day, technically, which it kind of matters less now that it's not a physical event. It was called Industry Day before because it was kind of industry only ticketed, because there were a limited number of seats for people to come and attend. So really, what Industry Day means this year is we're putting the games industry in front of a lot of people. We're giving them a bit of a peek behind the scenes, a little bit of a new chance to understand some of the different elements of it. There's going to be career deep dives with local experts in different fields that work at game studios, whether it's art, production, or game design, talking about their careers, their career paths, to help people understand how that came about and happened. We've got a little mini documentary series called The Hollywood of Games, which is talking specifically about Guildford and its games industry and how it came to be so significant, for which we've got a number of Guildford's most prominent sort of studio heads and directors talking on that, and they've got some really interesting career histories behind them. But some of the big draws, I think, are actually something that Liquid Crimson managed to pull off, which is through their work on the occasional bit of TV, I suppose. But in the evening tomorrow, we've got quite a lot of a few different comedians from Dara O'Brien's Go 8-Bit. You know that show?
Okay, yeah.
And that's part of a renowned gamer series we're calling, which is talking to these people about what are their favourite games, what are their Guildford Games memories. And as a part of that same series, there are a couple of astronauts on there.
Oh, nice.
Cool. How much they love games like No Man's Sky, it's surprising. And how potentially similar landing a rover on the moon is to twiddling an analog stick in your bedroom.
Those are the two career paths. You're going to make games, you're going to be an astronaut. That makes total sense to me.
We even discovered through talking to some of the staff at Criterion, I think it was, that some of them are basically qualified astrogeologists, because making games is really, really hard. It involves simulating physics.
Yeah.
And creating great games, it requires solving some of computing's most difficult challenges. So you do end up with that kind of cross-fertilized interest in kind of strange, high-tech ways, which is really interesting, particularly because we've got such a strong space sector in Guildford alongside the game sector, and make it seem there's an awesome mashup of that in the future.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. You've also launched today the new Guildford.games website. You can check that out to find out about the history of Guildford as a focal point, as a centre for games creation. It's really fascinating stuff on there. Like, you've got a whole timeline. You can go back through the years and see, the games that were developed in Guildford and published out of Guildford, going way back into the 80s, which is well worth a visit. I can see Dan's just put a link in the chat. He didn't want to do the news today, but he thought he'd swing by to put a link in the chat to Guildford.games. He's been working hard on it, and it's fair play. It's definitely worth a visit.
It's really exciting to get that over the line, actually. I think it might have been in development for more than a year and a half, which is a little bit embarrassing, but it's largely down to my underestimation of the amount of content that was required to be gathered for a job like that, for a website like that. And also, it was really important to get permission to use all of the high-res game art images from companies like Electronic Arts, who very kindly provided that and were very supportive of the project, as well as everybody else. So yeah, it really feels good to get that over the line, because, as I said earlier, Enterprise M3's job really is about driving collaboration between members, different kind of constituent parts of its local economy. And to me, the Guildford Games website pretty perfectly captures that. It perfectly proves the point of doing so, really, because there's a bit of a sense of, look what we've achieved together now. And as the results come in from that, we start to see what happens. I think it's going to be even easier to get the next project like that for Guildford's Games Industry off the ground, which is very cool. And something else that I think, I don't know, that I did have a little nose to see what other games clusters across the UK have got website-wise, and I think Etch have made it so that we've got the nicest one, so thanks very much for that.
You're welcome. I mean, it wasn't much to do with me. I think I did the mobile menu for you yesterday, but that was about it.
We did that yesterday. Come on.
I mean, it was totally well planned. We did it ages ago. It's been done for it. Yeah, it's been sitting there.
So the other cool thing about that for me is that effectively any game developer with a GU postcode, it's a little bit wider than Guildford, but realistically, if you've got a GU postcode, you're a part of Guildford's game industry. And so any game developer here is eligible for a profile on the website. Any service company that supports the local games industry is eligible for a profile on the website. And I hope that's going to be a bit of a unique string to the bow for Guildford when it comes to, if you imagine international investors or international game studios, where in the UK should I set up my game studio? Well, the proposition in Guildford now is that you can instantly come and identify yourselves alongside this really prestigious games cluster and associate yourself with these great companies. It kind of helps them fit into the UK games industry culture a little bit more smoothly, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, you mentioned the content. Even just the amount of box art on this website, I think, is insane. Like, it's just the gathering of all the images for all these games throughout history. Like, some of these things don't even have images on Wikipedia. I don't know where you found them all. I think it's amazing. So if people are interested in the festival, where should they go next? I guess they go to Twitter, or they can follow you on Twitch. That's the best way to stay in touch.
Yeah, follow Guildford Games Festival on Twitch so that you get some notifications when we do go live, which is going to happen tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. But between now and then, visit the Guildford.games website, because we're going to be there's a few different things to look at there already, so you can check out the schedule and see what times things are happening, so you know when to tune in to catch the thing you want to see the most. And also, past 6 p.m. today, if we're lucky, one other kind of recent achievement that Enterprise M3 has driven forward with Fireblade software, actually. You can read about the whole process of how it happened on Guildford.games, but we've got a UK first happening, I think, which is that Guildford's now got its own dedicated Steam page, and that's really cool because it's got approaching 50 different games from some of the older games that just happen to be on Steam, so I had to do some detective work and find out who owns those IPs. And then some games like Fable, and then some very recent Guildford games that are actually some of the biggest ones, like 2 Point Hospital, No Man's Sky, that kind of stuff. So seeing them all together in one place is brilliant. They're all going to be on sale from 6 p.m. tonight, and the festival's going to be also broadcast on Steam, although the schedule's going to be a bit different. So you can probably find that, if all goes to plan, you'll be able to see that on the front page of Steam past 6 p.m. tonight as well.
That sounds great. Get yourself a discount on some Guildford classics.
Mm.
Thanks very much for joining me, Sam. And if you're out there wondering whether you check it out, definitely check it out. It comes highly recommended from me. And I think can't wait to see the video content that you guys put together. And thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much for having me. Cheers.
No worries. Thanks. And thanks to you at home for watching. This has been the Etch Play weekly live show, episode 11. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch. It's down there somewhere if you're watching live right now. Click the button right now. Just do it right now. Why not? What have we got to lose? And if you're watching this on YouTube on catch up because you're a busy person, you've got a busy life, that's fair enough too. Oh, there's a siren right outside my... Not in a soundproof booth. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and make sure you get notified as well when we launch new videos. And we will see you next week. Same time, same place, 4 p.m. Be there, and we'll see you soon. Bye.